to complete a packed, energetic, and loads of learning session with an inspirational message. Till now, all of us learned what to do, how to do it, but here we have someone who would motivate us and tell us why we should do it. With that, I take great privilege in welcoming distinguished Toastmaster Mohammad Murad, who's a past international president and entrepreneur who manages 4 companies. After a 20-year career with the Dubai Police Force, he retired as Lieutenant Colonel in 2003. Distinguished Toastmaster Mohammad Murad has more than 27 years of experience in director and CEO roles in the fields of emergency medical services management, human resources development, and strategic planning. From the time he decided to become an entrepreneur, he has been in the fashion and event management industries. Distinguished Toastmaster Mohammad Murad holds 2 master's degrees, an MBA, and a master's in quality management, both from the University, pardon me for pronouncing this, Wollongong, Australia. He served as Toastmasters International President in the year 2014-2015 program year. With that, it gives me great privilege to welcome distinguished Toastmaster Mohammad Murad to inspire us and start us off in this amazing journey as district officers. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters, newly elected officers. I can vouch from the beginning that it is going to be a fantastic journey within this year. But it's important for us to take full advantage of the year is to look at the bigger picture, because it's always a reminder of how we can lead our path in a better way once we look at the bigger picture. Imagine yourself going on the streets of your busy Indian city, and you come to a complete stop from traffic. And then you start wondering, what is in front of me? And there is no way you could know, and I don't believe that there is anything in Google that would let you know other than those green and blue and black lines. There's nothing else that would let you know what's happening in front. But then imagine that your car brings out wings. And it's not Red Bull wings, actual wings from the car, which has a jet, and the jet propels your car up above in the sky. And then you can see exactly what's holding up the traffic. But little do you know that it's not only you being able to see the traffic, but those wings could get you past the traffic. You see, there are many times that we, in our leadership journey, we come across challenges that we fail to look at from a helicopter perspective. And therefore, we are stagnant into our own boundaries that will not lead us anywhere, because there are so many other surroundings that prohibit us from going forward. So what I'll be talking to you about is this bigger picture. And by the end of the talk, I will go into the minutest picture, because it's fascinating. There's a video on YouTube, if you want to have a look at it, is how the camera is zooming in on a person who's lying sunbathing. And then it goes up into the sky, above the atmosphere, looking at the Earth, looking at the planets, and then looking at the solar system, and on and on and on. But again, it comes back to focus to the person, and then it goes into the human body. And it's fascinating what happens in the human body. And if we understand that and how we are connected to the whole solar system, then our leadership journey is going to be fruitful and an enjoyable one. Because the last thing you want to do is go into your leadership journey and say, I want to go and fail. I want to come across people who are stubborn, who are arrogant, and will make my life miserable so that I become a better leader. Well, the fact of the matter is that if your journey is enjoyable, that is the time it is going to be satisfying. And no, I'm not saying that you will not have challenges. I'm not saying that there will not be those people who are stubborn and arrogant. But then stubborn and arrogant from your perspective. In their own perspective, they might be the correct persons. And you might be arrogant and stubborn. So it's got great value to look at things from a bigger perspective. Now, let me talk to you about what the bigger perspective is for all of us in this organization. And it's one of the simplest things that we could ever think of. I know that Satish might have called upon you and he has told you, you need to read your documents. You need to have your leadership handbook. And you need to do your success plan and give us your KPIs, and give us how many clubs you're going to charter, give us how many DCP points each club is going to have, and so on. But then he is basing, and all your district officers, you will be basing your performance on 4 simple things. And those are the 4 core values of Toastmasters International. You see, our guiding processes and procedures, our guiding documents, our constitutions, our way of working within districts, divisions, areas, clubs, are all based on these 4 key aspects: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. You see, within your district, you have joined, or you have gone into elections and have been elected because you want to be of service. And with that in mind, there is nothing is going to distract you, as long as you understand that it is service and service first that needs to pave your way into achieving excellence. But then service without excellence goes nowhere. You see, you have your distinguished district program, and you have your distinguished division, area, and club program. They are nothing but measurements of how excellent you were in giving service to the members. So service and excellence. But then if we do not encompass these two values with integrity, we are going to come across those stubborn, arrogant, and disorganized people, because there is nothing that guides your interaction with the others. You, without integrity, are open to everything and anything. But integrity brings about respect. You see, respect is something that has to be available in any kind of teamwork. I remember when I was on the board of directors, there was 1 year where the CEO, Daniel Rex, was introducing this values coin. Have you seen the values coin on the Toastmasters store? It's a fabulous, fabulous tool for us to come together whenever we have disagreements. Because what you have to do is take the coin and put it in the middle of the team. And everyone's focus is going to come back to this coin, which has the 4 values. And then you call out each and every person within the team is, are we, not are you, are we abiding by these 4 core values? And if at the end of the questions you have yes for all of them, then you're on your way. There will be no issues at all. And you will be on your way to solve challenges. So the core values are important. But what is more important is how you utilize them into leaving a legacy. You see, at the end of your years, what you want to do is make sure that whoever has in contact with you and whoever you have spoken to, you have worked with, talks good about you. And they praise you and they say, he is the one that made it happen with his team. Or she is the one that made it happen with her team. Or even say, we were a fantastic team. You see, leaving a legacy is what leadership is all about. I'm reminded by Dr. Stephen Covey's words, where he says, live, learn, and leave a legacy. You see, you have to be existing, and for you to exist, you need to understand that you are among a community. There is no way you are going to do it by yourself. By learning, every single day is a learning journey. And if you don't open your mind into making sure that you learn, there's no one, and including me in this session, that could say, I know it all. It's not possible. With that in mind, you need to make sure that you intake as much as possible. And this is why Satish is telling you, you need to read your leadership handbook. But then, is that enough? Far from it. Because learning is so wide that you can never stop and you cannot foresee. You know, when I was a chess player many years ago, and I was very good at it. I was playing for the national team, right? And in each and every session, training session that we had, we used to go and revise the grandmasters' moves and how they strategized in each and every time that they played, and there were books and books and books about those strategies. So if anyone could have actually learned everything that there was, there is no way anyone could beat them. But the fact of the matter is that in chess, there is no way you could predict all the moves that your opponent is going to play. Therefore, you need to plan forward and look at as many moves forward possibilities that there are. And this is where success comes. And for that, you need to have wide knowledge. So intake as much as possible and leave it to the circumstances and the team to do whatever they need to do in order for them to help you achieving your goals. So what does leaving a legacy mean? Leaving a legacy means you need to support the people and the causes that are important to you. And we know who the people are, right? But then what is your cause? Why have you stepped up to the leadership role that you have? What is your people's causes? And when we talk about our people, we always say that the member first, right? So if you're in a division, you are responsible for all the clubs that are under you. But helping you are the areas and the area directors for the clubs. Now, you need to be aware of one thing. Districts and district officers are not in charge of members, right? Your sole responsibility are your clubs. Your club members are your responsibility. The members in the clubs are the responsibility of the club. Hence, the DCP caters to the members of the club. But the district's mission caters to clubs and clubs only. And it's a chain. You know, if we look at Toastmasters' vision, the Toastmasters' mission, it will tell you that we will need to empower individuals to become better communicators and leaders, right? Empower individuals. So the organization's mission is to empower the individuals. And whenever I say individuals, everyone thinks of members, while individuals are members and potential members. There are two things in the district's mission, right? Create new clubs and help all clubs. So create new clubs has to have potential members there. So we have a wide perspective of what we can and how we can. So support those people and the causes that are important to you as an officer. You need to reflect and decide what is the most important in your life. And you will notice that I'm not talking about the district team here. And we were talking about the helicopter effect, and then you go into the human being. This is the human being part of what your Toastmasters leadership journey is all about. What is most important in your life? And I know that there will be some people saying that there are some of our officers, past officers, I'm sure not in this this term, who have signed up for the title, who have signed up just because they need director in front of their name, or even have become a member and become an officer so that they have DTM at the end of their name. I want to ask you, is that what is important? It wasn't for me, and I'm sure it's not for all of you, but then we need to remind ourselves, because as we go along and as things start happening, there are these thoughts that come into our mind that deviate us from what is most important, and our organization's mission and our district's mission, that might take us away from what's important for us. Share your blessings with others. One of the most important aspects of leaving a leadership legacy. If you have achieved something, or if you are capable of certain things, you need to share them with others, because that is where your experience, whether it's experience, whether it's tangible things that are allowed to you, you need to share them with others, because sharing is caring, right? I tell my granddaughters that sharing is caring. And then sharing the blessings is the easiest thing you can do. And then you will see smiles in front of you. You will see people accepting you in a better way. But you need to understand that there are some times that there will need to be hard talks. And simply because we are human beings, and human beings cannot adapt to circumstances equally all the time. But then we share. The next aspect is be a mentor to others. No matter how small the mentorship role is, and you know, whenever we talk about mentorship, people shy away from it, and people don't want to become mentors because they think it's a long-term relationship and we don't have time and we have other things, our jobs and so on. So why do I need to be a mentor? But there is a very simple way that might interest you. You can be an undercover mentor to many people. And with that, I do not pronounce mentor, have to with your name and your mentee's name. But whenever you see someone who you see a spark in, a single sentence, a single gesture to this person could make a world of difference in them. So share with your blessings with others, but then by being an undercover mentor is going to change lives in much more effectiveness than only your one or two pronounced mentors. because you could have hundreds of them. Now let's reverse the role. How many undercover mentors do you have? You see, you do not have to be bound by a single mentor also. And they do not have to be these high-flying people who have had titles and they think that they have done it all and know it all and so on. No. A TED speaker could be an undercover mentor. A district director who is not from your district could be an undercover mentor, just by observing. You know, if you like someone's style, if you like someone's way of addressing challenges, then in this social media world, it's very easy for us to track them. And it's very easy for us to see what they are doing, how they are imparting their knowledge. And I want to caution you, do not stalk them, because it could be very disturbing. And there's a big difference in stalking people and making them undercover mentors. And there is nothing wrong if you have the urge of asking someone to be your mentor. You do not have to wait for your district, for your club to assign you a mentor. Go ahead and ask them. And by the way, it's okay for people to say no. And I know I have learned to say no to many people. Why? Because you don't want to burn out also. You see, as a district officer, there will be many times that you will be pounded with request after request after request. And it's even worse when you become an international president. But then, in the interest of the cause, going back to the cause, you need to learn to say no when it goes above and beyond your capability. Because we all have our limited times. We all have our limited abilities. And knowing our boundaries will help us become more effective and more efficient. Because if it blows out of proportion, you are not being able to cope up. And this is why it's important to have assistants and people who can help you. Pursue your passions because they are infectious. If you infect others with your passion, you are going to leave a legacy. So think of someone whom you have come across, whom you think is a legacy. Guaranteed, each and every one you have thought of, they have pursued their passion. Not about the titles, not about the name, and not about the fame. Pursue the passion, and it is going to spread. I think that is what Dr. Ralph Smedley did, right? In 1924. He pursued his passion. And I don't believe, if you read the books that he has written, I don't believe he had this vision that Toastmasters will become a worldwide reality. I think of Toastmasters when it was an organization for male only. So there was no mission of individuals, it was male members only. But passion is infectious. So go ahead and pursue it so that others can benefit from it. what will leave a legacy? So there are certain elements that will be able to make you create this legacy. Number one, character. And it's important for us to understand our character. There are many people who have this morphing ability from time and then. They morph their character, which confuses people, by the way. And probably these are the people who do not understand their own character. So it is good for us to reflect back and understand what my character is made of. How do people see my behavior? Is it possible that I can enhance my character gradually and come to an ultimate character which leaves impression with people? Something to reflect about. And I know that I have morphed characters more than I would have wanted, simply because in the early ages or the early stages of my life, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no goal. Therefore, I was morphing over and over and over again. And when I joined Toastmasters, it gave me substance. It gave me a method, a process for me to find my character. The choices you will make will leave a mark. And that goes for the previous choices and the choices you make while you are on the job. So what choice you make will certainly leave a mark, whether it's positive or negative. That's for you to decide and for your team to reflect on and evaluate. The way you conduct your behavior will make an impact. So your behavior will impact others. And remember when I said this small gesture, if you are an undercover mentor, that creates a compound behavior that will create your character. So character, choices, and behavior will impact you and will impact the others. Your consistency will decide whether you leave a legacy or not. Are you consistent in making sure that you follow the plans that you have set forth for yourself? By the way, plans are not things that people will tell you, right? You have your district success plan, you have your division success plan, but each and every one of you that have created this plan see it differently, right? And the way you see it, if it's different than the others, it's okay. As long as the big aspects and the big guidelines are fine. For instance, our values, our core values. Each and every one of us interpret integrity, respect, service, and excellence differently. But the broad guidelines are exactly the same. So consistency will make a big difference. Confidence will make you get admired, right? And there's a difference here between confidence and arrogance. Because confidence lies back on knowledge. Arrogance relies on ignorance. And there's a huge difference, but there's a fine line for the individuals to understand which is which. The compassion you show others will be highly regarded. How compassionate are you? Are you empathetic with the people? Can you relate to others' challenges? And can you work with them to overcome them? Will make a big difference. So everything that I have told you, or I have mentioned to you, means one thing and one thing only. You need to lead from within. Everything that you do has to come from within. Our core values are values from within. So let me ask you this question. Who are you? The question again. Who are you? And I know some of you are hurting badly. But then there will be different people answering this question differently. Some of you might say, I'm a good father. I'm a good family man. Others might say, I'm an entrepreneur. Others might say, I'm a Toastmaster. Others might say, I'm a good mother, good grandfather. And there's no right or wrong answer, by the way. The first thing that comes into your mind is what your priority is. But then it's interesting to see how the answer to this question changes as you go through your leadership journey. Because you have different perspectives, different knowledges, different people, different experiences coming to you that will create this leader who is leading from within, because this is the most crucial question for you to lead from within. Now, let me ask you this question. Where are the core values from this question? Are they there somewhere? Or are they probably a bit far away? And it's difficult for you to pinpoint, but if you reflect enough, you will be able to understand better yourself. So now, for a more important question. Who do you want to be? Now, this is a tough one, isn't it? because there are so many buts that come in, right? Something comes up in our mind, but then there is one but, another but, third but, and there are so many things that come into this aspect that makes it difficult to put our finger on a specific thing. But the successful people who will leave a legacy are very accurate, and they know exactly what they want to do, what goals they want to achieve, and how they are going to achieve it. But then there are these deviations and turns that will come in. And for you to answer the question properly, you will need to ask it again and again and again. So, question for you. Who are you? I was fascinated how my answers changed at each and every turn of my life. But then it's only a few minutes since I first asked it from you. I'm quite sure that your answer might have changed a little bit, if not a lot, just because there are different perspectives that have been opened up for you. You see, these two questions have a gap in between them. The first one shows you where you are right now. Where do you stand? And the next one is in the future. Now, you decide whether it's the near future or further in the future. And there's no equation for people to understand that what's the ultimate. But what I want to tell you is that this gap in between these two questions will narrow at some point of your life. And the secret in making it successful as possible, is to maintain the gap and not let it come very close to each other. Because once they come in touch with each other, then that's the time that you have stopped growing. That's the time that you have stopped becoming a leader. That's the time that you are not building your legacy anymore. You need to make sure that this gap is there even within your 1 year. Last thought. If you think you are going to finish this term and you are going to rest, you are dead wrong. I'm sorry to inform you that your term does not end by the 30th of June of next year. The secret of leaving a legacy is to make sure that success comes year after year after year. So if you achieve distinguished at the end of your term and you think you have done your job, go forward 5 years from the end of your term and look at your district, look at your division, look at your area, and see whether the success has been sustained year after year after year, that is the measurement of your success. It's not your turn. But I need to caution you is that there are many people who think that they are responsible for the success of the people who are succeeding them. No, you are available and able, undercover mentor, whenever you're needed. But you need to make sure that you have paved the way in the realms of your term in order for the success to come. You see, you are the foundation this year. And it has to go smoothly into the years to come. So question, who are you? The other question, I'm not going to ask you because there's only one person who could answer this and only one person who could ask it. And that's you. Wish you all the success. Over to you.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Mohammad Murad. I don't have words, I'm sorry. So because I don't have words, let me call distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri, Club Growth Director-elect, to share her vote of thanks on our behalf. Gayatri,
I think there are questions right now.
Yeah, we'll have questions for 10 minutes.
Definitely, yes, definitely. We'll take questions.
If there are any. Anyway.
Let me be, the one thing that I loved about this speech, the presentation, and I'm sure that's a reflection of who you are, is the calm and composed and poised manner in which you delivered. And see, maybe I'm just connecting a lot of things, please excuse me, but seeing that you were the police chief, I did not expect this calm and composed and poised person. Is that something that you developed? Please help us understand that. How do I develop that character as a leader?
Absolutely. I mean, let me tell you, in the beginning of my police career, I was in the criminal investigation department. So a very bad cop for that matter. I was on the streets all the time, 3-4 days in a row without sleeping. And I was an aggressive person to the tone that my wife, whenever she was with me in the car, I had my walkie-talkies and people were talking to me and so on. And what she said is that I cannot believe that you treat your people like this, let alone the criminals that come across you. And it's fascinating that when I joined Toastmasters a few years after, and then I changed my role in the police, I was the chief of the emergency medical services a few years later. She recalled this conversation we had in the car. And what she said is that, you know what? I like you now. I said, now? You mean all these years there was no liking? She said, no, that you are very different. You talk to people differently. You treat them in a better way. And you have a smile. And that was noticeable because I am told that my smile is somewhat nice. And I take pride in that because I remember myself at those days. So it takes different things, I think, in life to the better. But environment, this is why this question you want to. So your environment conditions you, and it takes guts for you to be able to get out of this environment. and to change to someone whom you might think is not possible at certain times.
Thank you so much, sir, for that open answer. Thank you very much. We have a question from our finance manager incoming, Abraham Zakaria, sir. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. You opened my biography, I must say. I always thought I was a very educated person because I studied so many things and have, I must say, I've had some degrees that matter, diplomas and other things. But later I realized, after joining Toastmasters, I realized these are nothing when it comes to values. So today I am a social worker. I broadly given up my practice as a chartered accountant for earning money, but I do service. Because this is a really opening, and I thank you so much for telling me that who you are. That is a great learning for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abraham. Appreciate it.
Do we have any other questions? You can also post them in the chat box.
I have one question for DTM Murad. I remember you saying once that area directors can make or break a district. Right?
Yes.
So I just want you to kind of elaborate on that for our audience today.
Yeah, absolutely. The secret to the success, that's what my experience was at that time, I think is still true now, is that they are the strongest or the weakest link in the chain, because they are the closest to the clubs. Therefore, they can have the biggest influence in how clubs perform. And it's important to understand that those club visits that the area director does are pivotal into clubs or club executive committee, for that matter, to change perspective of achieving distinguished or not, or achieving different levels of distinguished or not. So they are the link. You know, our districts, as I said, have the clubs as their members. It's not the members themselves. Therefore, the nearest people to them are the most influential. Depending whether we give them proper delegation and line of communication so that they can do their job properly. And again, they are the ones who will progress into divisions and districts. Therefore, they are the creation and the learning pot for them for future leadership.
Thank you, sir.
So I know why you asked this question, because you are going to emphasize on them now, Satish, right?
So in our district, we are continuing this policy for the last 2 years, where we are telling people that you need to bring sustainable clubs. Don't grow for the sake of growing, or don't show numbers for the sake of growth. It should be sustainable.
Absolutely.
And like you mentioned today, when we kind of remit from our terms, we are not going to come back and run the district. We are letting somebody else run it. So you leave a legacy which people can build on and they can thrive on, not something which they will look up to you and curse you saying, what did you leave me with, right? So sustainability is what we are all talking about, and that's what we have thought as a district that we should go ahead with.
Well, I think it goes back to integrity, right?
Yes.
If you have clubs that are sustainable, then you are putting integrity into why the club is there. And therefore, the service mindset is there also, because we need to serve these people. So therefore, they need to sustain so that they can learn the most.
Right.
So values come into a lot of things that we are not aware of.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Satish. DTM Murad, for want of time, we'll take one last question that's there in the chat box. Sheshadri has asked, how do we realize that we have achieved where we wanted to be? Any measurement possible?
I wish I had this answer. I would be a millionaire by now, selling books about it. It's very individual, and there is, there is not this magic equation that you could apply to everyone, because everyone has different lives, different experiences, different goals that they need to achieve. But one thing I am sure is that once you have achieved it, it's felt in within. You will feel it. But the question is, are you willing to go all the way until that happens? Or are you going to give up and say, it's never going to happen? That's something for you to decide.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for that honest response. With that, I would like to invite distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri, Club Growth Director-elect, to share her vote of thanks on our behalf.
I have always wondered, when there are so many values that matter to humanity, why has TA chosen those 4 values? DTM Mohammad Murad, listening to you, I understood how these 4 values relate to everything in life and how these 4 values are themselves related to each other. You inspired us to aim for larger than life cause, share our blessings, and more importantly, find that undercover mentor or become one for someone. One thing is for sure, who we were before we listened to you is a different person from who we are now. With those thought-provoking questions, we are getting closer to the who we want to be. You said the choices we make leaves a mark. Our district director Satish has definitely made the best choice by making us listen to you on the very first event. On behalf of District 120, I sincerely thank you for being there with us today. And as a token of gratitude to that enlightening speech, I promise that we will all work to live, learn, and leave a legacy. Back to you, Artik.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. And once again, thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Mohammad Murad. It was an absolute pleasure listening to you.
Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And while we are in the throes of thanking our distinguished Toastmaster Mohammad Murad for his speech, we also have another 6 people whom, these are the guys who always work behind the screens. And it would be huge injustice if we do not thank them, because these 2 days were possible because of the work that these people did behind the screens. As I introduce each and every one, it would be great if we could spotlight them. To begin with, I would like to thank Toastmaster Divya Arumugaswamy from Tuticorin Toastmasters Club. All of y'all would have seen her as the MC of the day, but she took up the role of the chair, and she was the one who pulled in the role players, made sure we had all the plans properly in place, maintained time, and ensured that we had a fantastic DOTP for all of us. Divya, thank you so much, and we request your support in all of upcoming programs also.
Sure, and thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Toastmasters, for all the support.
Thank you. And if we all had managed to get the limelight, even been inside this meeting, it is because of these 2 people, the Zoom masters of the day. Zoom master of yesterday was Toastmaster Jonathan William from KCG Youth Masters. Jonathan, please spotlight yourself. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the support and the service you've done for us for yesterday and today. We appreciate your help. And now I would like to request you to spotlight the second Zoom master, Toastmaster Ramu Sundaram from Alvarpet Toastmasters Club. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ramu Sundaram. And now we move on to one person who carried the entire session yesterday and started us off in the right tone. That is our MC, Toastmaster Efafra. He's from Tirunelveli Toastmasters Club, He's not able to join us today for a particular challenge. I'm going to quickly share his photograph so that we know whom we are thanking. This is Toastmaster Epafra, the MC of day one from Tirunelveli Toastmasters Club. And we also have a timer, Toastmaster Thenmozhi from Verizon Chennai Olympiad Toastmasters Club. Once again, Thenmozhi had to drop off at 4 o'clock because she had another pressing engagement. That's why we have a photograph of hers. And the last person on the list is our timer, Toastmaster Richa, once again from Tuticorin Toastmasters Club. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Richa. We know this is a long duration and you've helped us maintain time. We always believe time management is key, and you are one of the key role players to make sure that happens. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Richa. With that, I'm going to take the stage for another couple of minutes. All said and done, no training program is complete if we do not share what we've learned in the session.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
So I am sharing a link, another Mentimeter link. I would like you all to go ahead and respond by stating one key takeaway from both the days. Any one key takeaway of yours. Wonderful learning. Okay. Leave a legacy. I like that. Zoom Master, can you confirm if everyone's able to see the word cloud?
Yes, they are able to see it.
Thank you. I'm going to leave this open for another 30 seconds. That's a lot of input. I will download this word cloud in a PDF form and I will share it with all the area directors and division directors, everyone who attended this session. With that, we would also like to have your feedback. I'm sharing another link for feedback. Please go ahead and share your feedback of this session in this particular link, and I will share it once again in the screen over here. Enriching, informative, awesome, enriched, valuable time well spent, energized, useful, enthralling experience, insightful, superb, learn the basics. I like that. Deep, fulfilling, charged up, rejuvenating, thought-provoking, encouraging messages, knowledgeable, enlightening, well, we will keep this coming in, and as I promised, I will go ahead and download both the word clouds and share it with all of us as a cherished memory for us to carry forward. With that, I would like to now take the opportunity to welcome our District Director-elect, Toastmaster Satish Menon, to share his closing remarks for these wonderful days and set the stage for the upcoming events. Thank you, and over to you, Satish.
Thank you, Aarti. Before I start, I just want to tell you something. Aarti, can you just launch one more link asking people what is the one thing that we could have done better? It's
Sure,
always
Satish.
that what we did, something good is good, but what is that something which we could have done better?
Okay,
So
give me a
as
few minutes. I will prepare.
Yes. So I'll continue speaking by the time you can create it. So here we are at the end of day 2 for our district OTP session. So when we all took over during the end of May, we had always strived to achieve that we will complete the DOTPs in the month of June, because we want each and every officer to take charge of their roles from 1st July onwards. Because we believe that as a district officer, all of us should get 11 months of our term. Why I say 11 months is the 12th month ideally we should spend in transition to the incoming team. Because next year, come 1st of July, they should also be able to take over their roles. So we effectively have only 11 months to kind of deliver on the promises and the expectations that we have set today. And when we started the journey or started this discussion, we talked about a lot of things. And when at the end of the second day, when you heard DTM Mohammad Murad speak, he never spoke anything different from what we have been speaking over the past 2 days. And let me tell you, I did not have any phone call conversation with him to tell him what he needs to speak. And even if I had had one, there is no way he would have listened to me. But you can see that in Toastmasters, if we believe in the Toastmasters core principles and guidelines, there are certain operating ways in the way which we need to work. And we have all kind of done, or rather tried to live up to that. So when we talked about having sustainable clubs, he also talked about sustainability. When we said about leaving a legacy, he also said about leaving a legacy. When we talked about the 4 core principles of Toastmasters, he talked about that. He also talked about as district will not run clubs. He explained the same thing, right? The district is not here to run the affairs of a club. So you can see that the underlying values are the same. As district officers, when we step down from our terms, we are not supposed to come back and interfere with the working of the district with the new district officers. We can only be called to assist, but we cannot come and try to force our way inside. And for us to leave a legacy behind is something that we can do is just stick to the core basics, which we have all agreed over the past 2 days. Like Praveen mentioned in his speech, most people start with a flourish, but they end with a whimper, right? So you can see the enthusiasm and the josh in the first quarter. Come the second quarter or the third quarter, the trend is like we can see that enthusiasm going down a bit. So why should it go down? Which is why I said don't use the word stress. We are not stressing ourselves here. If you learn to make the journey enjoyable, if we learn to play like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I don't care what the scoreboard shows. I don't care what the run rate is. I know how to win the match. That is what will make the journey enjoyable. And for that to happen, let's all ensure that whatever we have written down, we adhere to it and take usual steps to kind of make it happen. Greatness doesn't come overnight. But there is no success formula to say like a plus b the whole square is equal to whatever it is. So there is no so formula for success. Any book that you read on success, you look into your own experiences about how you have succeeded in different walks of life or through your life's journey. You will find that you have only succeeded because you have done things in a consistent manner. And you've improved day over day in what you wanted to do. Right? I have learned from my mistakes, but I have done it consistently. Nobody can go write an exam and expect to score 100 out of 100 if you have not studied for the exam. Right? And the study did not happen overnight. Right? You studied throughout the year. So you took consistent steps to kind of get to where you are. This is the same thing in Toastmasters. You take those consistent steps, you be in touch with your members, you take a look at the plan and you say, yes, this is what we are going to do, and we will get there gradually. We don't want to, this is not a hare and a tortoise race that I run there and that's it, right? So we'll get there gradually because we have 12 months to do it. So we'll get there gradually, but we have to kind of lay the foundations down. There is no point waking up on March 31st and trying to run for DCP or membership. You're not going to get there. Might as well plan it in July itself, so that by December, we are well set in what we want to do. Typically in the district, we say, a lot of people have told me, and I've learned it from hard experience also, that if you want to charter clubs, charter them in the first quarter of the year. Don't charter it in the last quarter of the year. Why they say charter in the first quarter of the year? Because you get enough time with the club to develop the club, bring it up to a level so that when you transition it out to the next incoming team, the club is in a good condition. If you charter it in the last 10 days, immediately you are transitioning it to somebody new. And assuming if you are not a district officer in the next term, what happens to the club? There are enough chances that the club might not survive. And we've got enough case studies of that to say how things like that have happened, which is why people say charter it in the first 2 months of the year or first quarter of the year. Now, some people might say, where is the funnel? I don't know. If there is no funnel, how can I charter? Well, all those are technicalities. But I say, at least if you work with the funnel, you know the leads, do that in the first quarter. Educational programs also. Tell members to file it regularly. Sometimes the members don't even know where they need to go and file it. A simple thing is for a member, if they go and look up the dashboard against their profile, their latest education qualification in Toastmasters will reflect that. So if it is not reflecting there, that means that somebody has not gone and filed it. As simple as that. And why we are in Toastmasters, if you are here to do such your educational journey, might as well update it and take credit for it immediately. These are all simple things. This doesn't require rocket science formula to kind of go and achieve. When we go and connect with the clubs, we have talked it enough and enough over the past 2 days. Don't talk numbers. Don't go pressurize the clubs to kind of add 4 members, take dual membership in that club, take triple membership in that club, drop your membership from this club and come to this club because this is a new club. Never. That goes against the principles of Toastmasters. If somebody wants to do it on their own, that is, they are more than happy to go and do it. But don't pressurize anybody. A member in good standing in one club renewing season after season is far better than a member going and taking membership in 4 other clubs, because they wouldn't be able to do justice to any one of those memberships. So let's keep some of those core values in mind when we start working. Take training seriously. That's why this year we said we'll take out that golden gavel points away from training, because we want people to attend the training because they feel they need to get trained, and not walk into a training because they want to get golden gavel points. That is not the objective of our training. So take your training seriously. Tell members to take training seriously. I've heard last year when some division directors told me that there is very poor representation from their area for trainings. And the reason, if you don't attend, that shows in other areas where you don't even know how to read a DCP report. Right? You don't know the difference between a talk-up Toastmasters and an 880 award. You don't know that once you finish a path, your VP membership, VP education has to go and approve it before it kind of reflects against your name on the dashboard. Basic things people don't know. What is the renewal cycle? They don't know. Some don't know that for a club to become distinguished, the payments have to happen consecutively in 2 payment cycles. Some just look at the educational awards and then they say DCP. But on the other will be structured. All these comes about we don't get ourselves trained. And let me tell you, trainings can only teach you so much. They can only show you the path. The rest of it is up to you to kind of learn. It is impossible for somebody to take the district leadership handbook of 100+ pages and explain page by page in a training. They can only point out you to say this is the guidelines. Now, how to read the guidelines in detail, how to implement it, you have to lead it on your own. When I say you, the members, not per se only this team. Right? So, which is all about getting back to basics. And once you do that, you will see that the success is automatically falling in place. Stay connected with each other. Meetings should be run like meetings are, like what DTM Murad said, have respect for the individual. Right? All of us here are doing our roles in a voluntary level. None of us are paid employees of Toastmasters International. So there are levels at which people can contribute their time. I may be able to contribute 13 hours, but that is because I have time on my hands. I can't expect others to do it. And I can't force my opinion on others to say, because I'm doing it, you should also do it. Right? Let's try to strike that balance. Take everybody together with us. Have meetings because we want to connect with each other. We want to get a status of where we are. When you go to the clubs, go more like an advisor or somebody who's going there to help, not to run the affairs of the club. It is good to have dissent. It is good to have healthy dissent. An organization doesn't grow if there is no dissent. But dissent has to be healthy. You cannot take it to a personal level. What we talk is because we are doing our roles. I still remember when I was working, there was this guy who used to work in the excise department. And he had a very foul temper. And he used to call people names, everything in the office. He used to pick up fights in the office. And you will say, tomorrow these guys will go and bash up each other. But in the evening, you could see both of them sitting outside the office in that local bar and drinking. So once I asked him, how do you kind of change personalities like this? So he said, I'm very clear. If I'm working here in the office, I'm wearing the hat of an employee doing my job. And if it means that in the job, I have to argue with people, I have to dissent with people, I will. But when I step outside the office, now I have kept my hat away. Now I am a normal person. My office work doesn't bother me. So I don't mix my official commitments and my personal relationship together, which is what we all need to learn. We all can dissent, we all can have different opinions, but end of the day, we are all defending or we are all living the title that has been given to us. So let's keep dissent healthy. Let's keep discussions healthy. Let's respect each other's point of view. You may not always get your point of view at every point of time. Learn to live with it, which is why we are saying this year we'll bring in a system of voting for everything that a district proposes so that it is voted by a majority and it becomes a decision that the district has kind of accepted. But even then, in your division council, area council, when you have dissent, listen to everybody, let everybody's point of view come up. Because all of us, for us, it's building a legacy. It's not holding on to this. And we don't have a choice. Come 30th of June, 2022, 12 o'clock in the night, Eastern Mountain Time, all of us are away from these positions. We can't take it, or nobody can go and ask Toastmasters for an extension. Like I can't go and say, I want to be district director for one more year. Not possible. Nor for anyone in this room. So let's learn to kind of work that manner. If we work in a constructive atmosphere, if we work by respecting each other, if we work by looking at the basics, and if we work to take sustainable and steps every day, we will be on the path to success. Classic example is the Indian team versus the New Zealand cricket team, right? So much hype for everybody. Look at the New Zealand team. You don't know most of the players. Stuck their heads down. They play every role they won. That's what we all need to learn. We can all, none of us are superstars here, right? All of us bring our different skills to the table. But if we put all those skills together and we work diligently on a plan, we will get to where we have to go, which is building a sustainable district. The growth will automatically follow. Thank you for all these 2 days of spending time here, learning, sharing experiences. Looking forward to working with all of you for a great Toastmasters year ahead for District 120. Thank you, and back to you, Aarti.
Thank you so much, Satish. Those wonderful words of encouragement. And as Satish has requested, I have shared the link for one improvement. Sustainability in terms of, or rather should say consistency in terms of improvement is also important. So please share your area of improvement. I'm sorry, your area where you suggest that we have to improve in these sessions.
Aarti, can you please share your cloud screen?
Yes, I am. More breakout sessions, branding in presentations, include short meetings, shorter meeting time, time management, focus on specifics, PR sessions, more number of breaks. This is good. Lunch tokens, okay. 1 day OTP, okay. Brand guideline adherence, okay. Member engagement, icebreakers, Swiggy food for us. Focus on specifics, photo shoots, 4 half-a-day programs, okay. There was increased time for the DD plan, point noted.
This is good because it helps us to get more inputs on how we need to plan future sessions. I'm not talking about the next DOTP, but the sessions that we are going to have during this year.
Better brainstorming time, appoint ADs early, timeline plan of action. Okay, seems like continue the current. Case studies, sure. Looks like we've almost got most of the inputs. Again, this will also be downloaded as a cloud and shared with everyone. And we will also look at the TLI team and I will look into these inputs shared by you so that we'll ensure that the future programs are taken care of. With that, thank you so much for the last 2 days. It was wonderful interacting with you all in different capacity. And we look forward to interacting more. Kundavi says, can we get the presentations? These video recordings will be up in our YouTube, District 120 YouTube. And we will also share the presentations of the last couple of days. Something which we discussed with our finance manager and our district director, probably when we understand whether we could have a meeting of 50 odd people, we'll have to check in terms of the allowances from the government and the safety precautions. When that is possible, at the earliest, we will have a meeting of all the area directors, division directors, and the extended team quite soon. We are also eager to meet all of you. One entire year has gone for all of us without being able to meet all of you. So we will definitely plan that. With that, once again, thank you so much and wishing you all a fantastic, rewarding journey ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Wishing you all the very best.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Watch team.
Thank you, everybody.
All the best.
Learning for the past 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All the best for a great year ahead.
Thank you, everyone.